Alright, so let's continue with this activity. In this activity uh, we have to see what are the which person is referring to. So let's remember that what we what we were talking about before the the connection was lost. So in this activity we have to read which person sleeps in the early afternoon, thinks they ought to do more exercise, etc., etc. So we are going to read this article with different people, different uh, everyday routine activities, and we have to answer that. So let's read the first one. It says here, university student Jake Harris is in his first year. Assuming I don't oversleep, which can happen, I'm out of bed by 7:45. If there is time, I have some tea and toast. Then set off. I used to aim for the 8:25 train, but I kept missing it, so nowadays I do the uphill walk into town, which wakes me up and enables me to plan what I'm going to do in the morning and afternoon. From 9 till 1, it's lessons and a group activity with a quick break at 11 to grab something to keep me going till lunch. The afternoon is similar to the morning, really. After that, I sometimes head for the gym, but not as often as I should. Once I get home, I work for a few hours, and later, if I'm not feeling too exhausted, I go out with friends. I've met some fascinating people here. Alright, so now let's answer the questions. Let's see which options apply to Jake Harris. The first question is, which person sometimes sleeps in the early afternoon? So the question is this person does this person sleep in the early afternoon? Let's read this and try to find if this person does this. Well, we can see that says I'm going to do in the morning and afternoon from 9 till 1 lessons. So this is the student. From 9 till 1 lessons, group activity, quick break at 11. The afternoon is similar to the morning, so here we can see that this person doesn't sleep in the early afternoon. So the number 1 doesn't apply to him. Which person thinks they ought to do more frequent exercise? So is this person thinking in that? Well, here let's look for the keyword do exercise. So here we can see well, this person says that that lost his train. It says I used to, so in the past it's a habit that I did, but now I don't do it anymore. I used to aim for the 8:25 train, but I kept missing it. So nowadays, so in the past, I took the train, but now it doesn't work for me. I always lost the train, so now I do the uphill walk. So in this moment, he stops taking the train. I'm sorry, and now he walks. So which wakes me up and enables me to plan what I'm going to do. We continue reading. Then the afternoon is similar to the morning. After that, here, attention to this part. After that, I sometimes head for the gym, but not as often as I should. So this person thinks that he should do more frequent exercise. So the number 2 applies to this person. So let's write here a letter A for the number 2, A, because this is for Jake Harris. Okay. Okay, let's see the next one. They have their best ideas late in the working day. Well, this person doesn't mention about that, anything about having new ideas, so maybe we can skip that. has to hurry to catch the train to work. Does this man have to hurry? Well, he used to take the train in the past, and he he tried to hurry, but he stopped trying in this moment. That's why he says that he does the up walking. So we can eliminate that one because it doesn't mention that he hurried to catch the train. The number 5 doesn't always get up at the same time every day. It says here, assuming I don't oversleep, which can happen, I'm out of bed by 7:45. So when you oversleep, you sleep more than necessary. So it says here, assuming I don't oversleep. So when it says, like, when I don't oversleep, when I don't sleep more than I should, I'm out of bed by 7:45. If there is time, I have some tea and toast, then set off. I used to aim. So this person doesn't have a specific time to wake up, because he says that the majority of time, the majority of days, this person oversleeps. So he sleeps more than necessary. So that's why we can say that doesn't always get up at the same time every day. So we can say that this is for Jake Harris. Okay, let's see the next one. Dislikes working later than they should. It doesn't mention anything about that. After that, I sometimes head for the gym. Once I get home, I work for a few hours, and later, if I'm not feeling too exhausted, I go out with friends. So he doesn't mention that he doesn't like working late. Believes exercise help them prepare for the day ahead. Let's see if it's mentioned. So does this person do something to, like, any kind of exercise to, as a preparation for the day that is beginning? Yes, right. We can see in this part. Let me use an arrow to mark. Okay, so in this part of the text, it says here, but I keep missing. So I do the uphill walk into town, which wakes me up and enables me to plan what I'm going to do in the morning and afternoon. So this person likes walking because this is a preparation for him for the day ahead, to plan what this person is going to do, etc., etc. So this sentence applies to Jake Harris too. So this is the number 7. Which person is now more relaxed at work? Does it mention something about that? That in this moment his job is more relaxing? No, right? It doesn't mention anything about being stressed and then being relaxed. This person chooses not to follow local tradition. Does it mention something about anything about a tradition in the town or something? No, right? No. And which person enjoys answering questions from customers? Well, this person doesn't, in this paragraph, it doesn't mention anything about that too. All right, good. Now let's read the next text, next article. Okay, for assistant sales manager Julia Anderson, each day begins at 6:30 a.m. with a quick shower, a few minutes to get ready, and then a dash to the station to catch the 7:15 into Manhattan. By 8 o'clock, she's at her workstation. I need to be there then, before the salespeople start arriving. I spend the rest of the morning in meetings and dealing with client queries. which for me is one of the most interesting, challenging, and worthwhile aspects of the job. Then there is out for a quick lunch, my first meal of the day, and back to work at 1 p.m., followed by more at the same up to 5 p.m. That's how things are here. You have to keep to a tight schedule. At first, I found working here pretty stressful, but I'm used to it now, and it doesn't bother me. Alright, so let's read the text. This person sometimes sleeps in the early afternoon. No, right, it doesn't mention. Well, it says here that each day begins in comparison to the other person. This person has a more organized schedule to get up. Each day begins at 6:30. It says about his job and everything, but no, it doesn't mention if she sleeps in the early afternoon. Says they have their best ideas late in the working day. No, as well, this paragraph doesn't mention. She says that meeting and dealing with client queries, it's one of the most interesting, challenging, and worthwhile aspects of the job. So, client queries is like the questions that a client may have. Has to hurry to catch the train to work. This person has to hurry. There is a keyword here. Do you remember? Do you see the keyword? The keyword is in this line. Can you find the keyword? Yes, the keyword is dash. Dash. Then a dash to the station to catch the 7:15 into Manhattan. So when you dash is you hurry, you run. In this case, this person has to hurry, has to dash to catch the train to work. So here is the letter B. Okay. The next question is, dislikes working later than she should do. She doesn't like working later. Oh, it mentions something about that. No, right. In this part, you can read followed by more of the same thing up to 5 p.m. So this person continues working or continues with the same activities until 5 p.m. So no, she doesn't work later. Is now more relaxed at work? Yes, right. She says here, at first I found working here pretty stressful, but I'm used to it now and it doesn't bother me. When you're used to something, you are accustomed, you are more organized, you understand more the activities, the everyday tasks that you have to do. Now is no now when you get to know what you have to do, now the things are less stressful. So yes, this applies to here. She is now more relaxed at work. So this is the letter B. She is now more relaxed at work. Chooses not to follow local tradition and enjoy answering questions to customer. Well, chooses not to follow local tradition. In this text, doesn't mention. It doesn't mention anything about local tradition. Well, she says that's how things are here. Probably can be like a tradition. You have to keep to a tight schedule. So maybe, but it doesn't mention like this is like the local tradition. No. And enjoys answering questions from customers. Yes, right. She doesn't use the word customer. Instead, she uses clients. She says, spend the rest of the morning in meetings and dealing with client queries, which for me is one of the most interesting, challenging, and worthwhile aspects of the job. so she likes answering questions. All right, great. Now let's read the third article, the third part of the article. This is Oliver McShane. Okay, website designer Oliver McShane works at home and unsurprisingly is a late riser, rolling out of bed, as he puts it, at 9 a.m. Switching on his laptop, his first task is to answer any early morning emails, and then he carries on from where he left off the previous evening. If I have a creative peak, he says, that's when it is, and it takes me a while to get going again the next day. Whenever I stay up working very late, I wake up for it by having a 20-minute lie down after lunch. Then, when I wake up, I feel refreshed and ready for another long working session. Occasionally, I pack my laptop and sit in a cafe for a while, although I can get distracted from work if I run into someone I know. Okay, interesting routine for Oliver. Sometimes he sleeps in the early afternoon. Does Oliver sometimes sleep in the early afternoon? Yes, right. It says, whenever I stay up working very late, I make up for it by having a 20-minute lie down after lunch. So he takes naps. A nap is a short sleep. That's a nap. Do you take a nap? Do you like taking naps? I think taking naps is good, but you have to be careful what time you take naps. So says, sorry. Sometimes he sleeps in the early afternoon. That's Oliver. Says they have their best ideas late in the working day. Does this person says that he has the best ideas? Well, he says here, if I have a creative peak, that's when it is, and it takes me a while to get going again the next day. So he says that sometimes he has a creative peak, but the best ideas late in the working day. Well, it says here that he left off the previous evening, so he works late in the evening and he have some ideas. If I have a creative peak, that's when it is, and it takes me a while to get going again the next day. So he has good ideas in the evening. That's why he continues from there. So yes, this person has the best ideas in the last part of the day, in the evening. So this is Oliver. Okay. Dislike working later that he should. No, on the opposite, he says that he likes working, and when he has a creative peak, he works later, but he likes that, so he doesn't mention that he doesn't like. Chooses not to follow local tradition. Well, in this text, in this paragraph, doesn't mention again something about a local tradition, right? He only says that sometimes he works at a cafe, but sometimes he can get distracted if he sees someone that he knows. Alright, let's have a look at the last person, Anita Ramos. She's a tourist guide who works mornings and evenings. It's just too hot to walk around the city in the afternoon, she says, so I spend it at home. It's the custom here, attention, to have a sleep after lunch, but I haven't got time for that. In any case, I'm not tired then because I don't get up particularly early. When I do, I usually skip breakfast, though sometimes I have cereal or something. Then it's off to the office before heading downtown to whatever I'm meeting the first group. I take 4 or 5 groups out before lunch and I'm supposed to finish around 2 p.m. to post. Though there always seems to be someone in the last group who asks lots of questions, which can be a bit irritating if I end up doing unpaid overtime. It also means I risk missing the 2:15 train home. Well, so here we can see the last one. So this person dislikes working later because she says that she is supposed to finish at one time, but because of the questions of the people, she says that she has to. I'm supposed to finish, but there always seems to be someone in the last group making questions. And yes, she says that the tradition here chooses not to follow local tradition. The tradition here is that you get to sleep after lunch, but I haven't got time for that, so she doesn't follow this tradition. So this is Anita too. All right, well, so in this lesson we learned about some different lives of different people. We saw some people that likes working late, some people that doesn't like working late. In my case, I don't like doing that, so I like doing other kind of activities. I am very organized with my time, with my classes. So to finish, I would like you to do something similar to this, to practice writing a paragraph about your everyday routine, like the activities that you usually do. If there is a custom, if there's a routine or tradition that you have. So I would like that you can write a similar paragraph to these people. You can read these paragraphs again in order to follow that. And well, that's all for the lesson of the day. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time, and see you in the next lesson. Have a great day. Bye bye.